Ebix Cash, a fully owned subsidiary of Ebix, has signed an agreement with global money transfer and payment services player MoneyGram to expand presence in India. This partnership is aimed at bringing inward remittance volumes of $3 billion annually to India. My colleague Priya Sheth caught up with Robin Raina, who is the chairman of Ebix, and asked him the rationale of this agreement and their plans to scale up.
Ebix Cash, a fully owned subsidiary of Ebix, has signed an agreement with global money transfer and payment services player to expand presence in India. This partnership with MoneyGram is aimed to bringing inward remittance volumes of $3 billion annually to India. Joining us to discuss this and plans forward is Robin Raina, the chairman of Ebix. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Raina. First of all, run us through this partnership with Ebix. What will it mean in terms of touch points and the larger distribution plan out there?
Well, Ebix Cash presently has a franchisee network of around 320,000 franchises all across the country. This deal is all about providing MoneyGram access to that. MoneyGram made a strategic decision to go exclusive with us, which means that all their existing agents of MoneyGram in India will now become sub-agents of Ebix Cash, as also all new agents that will be sub-agents that will be hired. And MoneyGram brings in this number of $3 billion into India. Ebix Cash should be handing all that cash with respect through our franchisee network all across the country.
Break up the whole monetary structure, and what is the kind of commission structure that you have as part of this deal?
Well, look, the commission numbers are obviously confidential, so I couldn't tell you what commission structure is there. At the same time, let's put it at that. It's a very lucrative deal. We expect this to be a very highly margin-intensive deal for Ebix, purely because of the fact that we've already invested in our infrastructure. Our delta cost, our incremental cost is a lot lower, simply because we're very heavily invested already in the remittance sector and in the financial sector in India. So our incremental cost tends to be a bit lower.
At this point in time, Ebix has about $6.5 billion in terms of inward remittances. And we understand that this partnership could bring an incremental business of about $3 billion. So run us through what is the kind of time frame for this, and how are you looking at scaling this up?
Look, the part about bringing new money into India, that part is going to be handled by MoneyGram, simply because they're at the origination end where the money is handed over, whether it is coming from the Middle East or Australia or US or Europe or wherever. We are at the destination end. We are at the end where we hand over the money. So ours is a more of a servicing job, wherein we follow all the compliance and make sure all the KYCs are followed, but virtually in minutes of the money being handed over, say in Boston at MoneyGram's retail location, we would be able to hand over that money virtually all across all across our network, our franchisee network, all across the country.
We are targeting about $25 to $30 million in terms of revenues via this partnership. So how are you going to scale this up? And annually, when do you think these revenues will start ticking in?
They'll start kicking in immediately. It's not a long-term deal. It's not like the deal will take time to get us the revenues. The revenues will start kicking in immediately. So we expect to continue to scale it up. The numbers we gave of $20 to $35 million these numbers could be a lot larger than these numbers. It will all depend on the amount of money that is flowing into India. These are highly conservative numbers that we have given. We expect the numbers to be a lot bigger than this.
So when you say conservative, you mean you could hit the $50 million mark annually over the next 2 to 3 years? Is that the kind of target that you're working with?
That's absolutely true. We could hit $50 million, yeah.
On the insurance space, you've got an approval for insurance distribution under the BSC Ebix joint venture. So run us through what is the kind of timeline for rolling out these operations?
So our intent is to do a soft launch virtually in a few weeks' time. We think it's a very big venture wherein BSC has around 300,000 touch points in the country. We have around 320,000 touch points in the country. So we feel the combined reach of when you look at the combined reach of EBIX Cash and BSE, I don't think there is any banking network that could rival that reach, or any network in India that could rival that reach, that combined reach. So we're very bullish about that BSE EBIX venture.
So can we expect February to be a month where you would be rolling this out? And also in terms of revenues, what are your expectations from the kind of traction this insurance distribution business could bring?
Look, the insurance business, first of all, yes, the short answer is that we probably intend to do a soft production launch in the second week of February is the present planning. One of our goals in coming days is we would like to launch India's first reinsurance exchange.
Mr. Raina, a final question on the IPO. That's what the street has been watching out for. And when we spoke last, you said the second quarter of 2020 is when we can expect some sort of action on that front. Run us through where it stands at this point in time.
So at this point in time, we are at a stage wherein we've already appointed the bankers. We have 3 bankers, ICICI, Edelweiss, and Axis, who are our bankers, book runners for ICICI as the lead banker. Others are the book runners. We intend to appoint 2 more international banks to it. Under the law, we are supposed to get our audit done till March, and once we get the audits done till March, 3-year audits, then you have 135 days to file your IPO, and that's what we are still focused on. We're intending, which means practically, it all depends on SEBI guidelines, and it all depends on the time it takes with SEBI, the regulatory stuff. But presently, we are targeting still July or August as the time frame for the IPO.